probably currently in the worst shape I've been for a couple of years, and I've got one of my biggest challenges coming up in a little over a week. I don't usually worry about stuff like this. It doesn't usually scare me that much. I think I'm often too in the moment to really see how bad it's going to get. What I've got coming up will be physically the hardest run by an extra 30%, 35% on top of anything I've ever done before. But I think mentally it's going to be bigger than anything because I've not got anyone with me at all. There's no support. There's no one cheering me on. It's me, against nature, against the terrain, against the full width of England. Admittedly, one of the narrowest parts, but that's still fucking far. 135 kilometres, give or take, 85 miles, roughly, and a hell of a lot of elevation. All on legs that have been struggling to cope with a 5k recently. You've got to ask yourself why. I've got to ask myself why. I think I'll find out while I'm doing it. I usually do. And hopefully I can offer some insights along the way. Hopefully I can weave a bit of a story together that'll help me and maybe help someone watching. I feel like I need to offer up an update. I know this isn't a big channel with a big audience, but I always feel included. I always feel part of something a little bit more if the channel kind of goes away for a bit, but then when they come back they kind of tell you where they've been and they give you a reason why. I find it's there's some catharsis in it. So where have I been? Well, quite frankly, life got in the way. Things got quite busy, and when that got paired with what started as a minor injury and later turned into something a little bit more damning, running sort of fell apart. I think last true update, other than some of the sort of adventure stuff that I dropped over Run 79, so over like the winter period, the last update on training was preparing for, would it have been preparing for Chester? I don't know, I didn't think I talked about preparing for Manchester, but basically fell apart at Chester. I went into it sort of tentatively thinking I could hit my goal, but sort of nursing some sort of leg pain, and it sort of fell apart really quite badly halfway around. And to be honest, marathon training is hard enough without turning it into whatever this is. But I know it's not only helpful for me, it's helpful for other people, because to say I came from kind of nowhere to being a semi-competent runner is a bit of an understatement. And I think, I don't know, it's a tough one, because people who meet me more recently kind of see me as capable as a runner, but I still see the person who started. I still see the person who struggled for years to get below 50 minutes in the 10k. And because I'm aware of that, I'm not afraid of showing when things are going shit. And I think that's really useful to see when you're starting out on something you've not done before. I've done a few times, I've done marathon blocks a few times. I've trained for longer stuff, and I think it's easy to see people who are way ahead of you. I'm not including myself in that. It's easy to see, people who are phenomenal runners. I think we've probably all watched a few of them, and even their struggles, you kind of go, well, the way you're failing, I could never even reach that. Whereas me, I'm barely holding on, but I'm getting some wins and I'm enjoying it. And sometimes I'm not. I think that's the problem again. When things get really tough, this conversation is one of the first things that breaks down. I don't have the time to make the videos, I don't have the energy. And so, you've not seen those ups and downs that I think are so worthwhile sharing. You've not seen those. And hopefully I can bring you along this time. Although, I'm putting a massive millstone around my neck. So I'm training for Chester in October from a place of a poor base. Not a lot over the last sort of 4 months. And that millstone is going and running from Newcastle over to Bowness on Solway, right across the other side of the country, following Hadrian's Wall as best I can, with only sort of 6 or 7 weeks to go before the marathon, and somehow expecting to train through that, to not fall apart. Granted, I'm not going for 2 hours 55 this time. I'm going for finishing. Whilst it's not going to be easy, it's doable. But I'd like to not embarrass myself too. I really hope that I can kind of keep all the plates spinning this time around and sort of bring you along. I think one of the tough things is, because I come from a filmmaking background, I have this view that, well, if it's not going to be perfect and each episode doesn't tell a story concisely and well, then it should just be scrapped. And I don't think that's the case. I worry a lot about that. My other worry, and it sounds like honestly, it sounds like a ridiculous one, but I struggle with social media, sort of becoming quite addicted to it. When I noticed how bad it was affecting me back in sort of April, when I had to drop out of the marathon before it even started, to forego my place, I had to just take some time away from Instagram. You know, comparison being the thief of joy and all that shit. Just constantly felt like I was getting left behind because I was seeing everyone else on their best days, and I was having more worse days. Oh, what are we doing here? 7:15 per kilometre. I feel like I'm struggling. Granted, it is getting close to midnight. Time off Instagram, time off social media, not posting stuff, worrying about what people think when I do post stuff. It's tough. It's tough when you make a living adjacent to this. You know, I'm not an influencer. I don't make my money from this. I work in a world of people who do. And this isn't a woe is me kind of thing. It's more a kind of like explanation for why I've dropped off several times in the past couple of years and just completely disappeared from it. But that means that the creative part of it, not the consumption part is the bad bit, but the creative part has to be mixed up in that. And the creative part gets stymied by the times when I can't deal with the consumption. This is my karma coming back at me for years of putting just or only in front of ridiculously high mileage. Kilometerage? Meterage sounds alright. Kilometerage doesn't. Saying, yeah, it was only 12k, it was only half marathon. And now 3 kilometers in, and I'm not struggling, but I can feel it harder than I've felt it in a long time. But this is good, this is humbling, this is showing where I can be and where I want to be, and showing how far away the two are, and how much that giving up for a couple of months can drag you back. But also, fingers crossed, also how quickly you can come back if you put in the hours, if you put in the time, put in the effort and energy. If you get out there when you don't want to, you get out there when it's, well, inconvenient, to say the least. You get out there every day. You make a commitment to yourself. Whew. Right, I just need to focus on this run now. I need to put some effort into it. I'll see you at the end. That's 8 kilometers. Pretty pedestrian 6:16 minutes per kilometer pace.